Hello everyone, welcome to our Tuesday reaction series where we are looking at the number one songs of each calendar year, the entire year. We started several months ago in 1946 and we found ourselves now in the 70s. We're closing in on the 80s. We're at 1977 at this point, and the number one song of that year was Rod Stewart's Tonight's the Night. In parentheses, gonna be alright. This song has a special place in my heart as a fan, but not as a fan of Rod Stewart, as a fan of Janet Jackson's. Tonight's the Night is one of a very, very, very few select songs that Janet Jackson has ever chosen to cover on one of her albums. It's very rare that Janet says, oh, let me just do a song somebody else has done. And the fact that she chose this to include on the Velvet Rope, which was her most personal album, was quite a statement. This song was Janet's mother, Catherine Jackson's, favorite song, which was a little odd considering that Catherine is a bit of a religious conservative individual, and the song is a bit on the risque side. But Janet sort of ran with it and made it even more risque. But this reaction is not about Janet's version. That's just my way into the song. I knew the song already. It was already such a big part of pop culture that I was aware of it before Janet recorded it. But that really brought it more into my awareness. And without further ado, let's not make this about someone else. Let's make this about Rod Stewart. Let's watch the video for, and there is apparently an official video for it. I think maybe I might have misjudged how many videos had clips in the 70s. It seems like there's been several years in a row where, like last week's 1976 number one song of the year had a video clip attached to it. I guess I didn't realize that it was so widespread before the advent of MTV. But at any rate, here's the official video, or what at least this YouTube channel calls the official video for Tonight's the Night. Let's listen.
Back door disconnect the telephone line. Relax, baby, and draw that blind. Kick off your shoes and sit right down. Loosen up that pretty French gown. Let me pour you a good long drink. Ooh, baby, don't you hesitate, 'cause tonight's the night. It's gonna be alright, 'cause I love you, girl. Ain't nobody gonna stop us now. Stop this tide. Spread your wings and let me come inside, 'cause tonight's the night. It's gonna be alright, 'cause I love you, girl. Ain't nobody gonna stop us now. child. Just let your inhibitions run wild. The secret is about to unfold. Upstairs before the night's too old. Tonight's the night. It's gonna be alright. 'Cause I love you, girl. Ain't nobody gonna stop us now.
Je peux pas. Mon Dieu, qu'est-ce qu'il va dire maman? Mon amour, viens plus près, embrasse-moi. Je t'adore beaucoup. Cette nuit est la nuit. Oh, oui, cette nuit est la nuit.
It doesn't get any more straightforward than that. That song is definitely about one thing and one thing only. I'm not sure how that song would come off today. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure maybe I do know how it would come off today. I guess when Janet remade it, there was a bit of a wink of nostalgia to it, because I think that there's a certain grandfathering that happens when a song might potentially be problematic, but it's already ensconced as a standard, so you kind of allow for that. I think Mark Twain got the benefit of that in a lot of literature courses. But the song itself is undeniably like a classic. The part about the virgin child, the sort of pressure and resistance that seems to be hovering over the song, like no one's gonna stop us now, and there's this air of having to convince. I'm not trying to read any sort of undertones or overtones into it that aren't there, but there is a lot to unpack here about the way this song is written. But if we can just, it's impossible, but if we can kind of compartmentalize that, put it aside a bit, and just talk about how the song really delves into its subject matter with a laser focus and is very much actualizes what it's trying to say. It's super effective at doing that. So I think that it's just a marvel of a song in that way. And the music video is surprisingly restrained about how it captures that interaction. I think it's weird that we never see the female's face. It lends an air of anonymity, almost objectification to it. Like, this is not even really about her. It's about him seducing her. And that could be both intentional. There could be commentary implicit in the way that the video was shot. Or it could just be outright sexist. I mean, and that's the cool thing about art. Sometimes you have to kind of think about like what's being said and why it's being said that way. So you can see this as a very exploitative video, or in a sexist video, or you can see it as a commentary on how people do things or how things really are in a lot of in broader society. And that's way beyond the scope of what I could do in this video. And honestly, it's not it's a test that I really subject most of the songs I'm reacting to. So we'll also kind of leave that aside. But it's undoubtedly like a song of its time, and a song that has some content that might not fly so well today. But the vocal is great. Like the video is really well done for what it's trying to do. It's very focused, and it relies a lot on Rod's acting ability, which, I mean, there's a couple of very casual, almost like amateurish moments where he's winking at the camera or what have you. But I also think that that's part of the Loverman attitude that he was trying to convey and was part of his image at the time. For the most part, though, I think he did a really good job of communicating the lyrics when in his lip sync for the music video clip, and kind of really putting us in there in the scene. And this is, to me, a much better video than some of the videos from 4 and 5 years later when they were when there was really bad acting, or there was like very obvious hamming it up for the camera, or very much getting way into the camera, and like, you know, there was a lot of videos from the early 80s that I felt went over the top in a not so pleasant way. And I think that the way that they approached shooting this video and Rod Stewart approached acting for this video was perfect. It was a perfect match for the song. So I think that the clip succeeded in that way. The melody and arrangement, of course, is just great. I don't really know how else to put it. It's a very tight and focused song, in the way that the progressions in the song mirror what's being said in this. What the lyrics of the song is, it all works really, really well together. It's a great pop rock seduction anthem, and it does exactly what it set out to do. And it's and I have, from that perspective, I have nothing negative to say about it. So now that we're finished talking about this version of the song, I will confide in you that I do like Janet Jackson's version better. But I'm also, a Janet Jackson fan, so that kind of almost goes without saying. But Rod Stewart's classically gruff, throaty delivery is in full effect here, and you can't duplicate that. Nobody else sounds like Rod Stewart, and that's, of course, a welcome texture in the song as well, and gives it a little bit more of a flair than it would if it were, say, like Barry White had sung this song, or Marvin Gaye. It would be interesting, though, to hear versions from different singers who made their mark as boudoir balladeers, and see how it would be different if they did it. And I think it's super interesting that Janet, who by the point in her career when she did the remake of this song, had become a bit of a legend of doing baby making music herself, how she also invested herself in this setup of that's implicit in the lyric of the song, very clearly for intended to be for a female, and how Janet approached that part of the record when she did her version of it. But I'm going to shut up about Janet. It was so yeah, I have lots and lots to say, mainly because of the Janet Jackson connection, but I'm going to leave it there. The song definitely holds up from a musical standpoint all these years later, and it was good to revisit it and hear the original once again. Next week we are up to 1978 and the heart of the disco era. The number one song of that year was "Shadow Dancing" by Andy Gibb. I'm excited to listen to that next week. And in the meantime, if you liked this video, please hit the like button. If you feel so inclined, you can subscribe to the channel, and please also make music better.